Welcome back, listeners, to the My Focus Inspire Me podcast. My name is Leonie Lam. I am a career coach, speaker, corporate trainer, and today we have my dear friend Ali with me. How are you today, Ali?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for inviting me, Leonie.
I will introduce Ali in a moment, but for now, I just wanted to share with you a quick summary of what I'll be talking about today. And we will be talking about strategies to enhance your interview skills. So the topic is all about how to enhance your performance at job interview using mindfulness practices. So I'm so excited today because Ali will be asking me all the questions and I will be giving my responses. So just a little bit about Ali. He is an investor. He has his own investment business. And I met Ali this year through a Buddhist community. So he's a dear friend, and he also is the lead facilitator on Tuesday evenings, the Buddhist community that we are part of together, where we are exploring the book Understanding Our Mind by Thich Nhat Hanh. So it's a great book, and it's such a good opportunity to have Ali lead the sessions on Tuesday evenings. And so happy that he is here. I turn to him for support and advice on mindfulness practices, and certainly we're both mindfulness practitioners. So thank you, Ali, for being here.
Thanks, Leonie. No, it's great to be here, and I love what you're doing with bringing in these different, I guess, practices or teachings or things that people can use in their life, particularly in the context of work and getting a job. So that's great. Mm.
Thanks, Ali. So I'll hand it over to you now, Ali, to ask the questions. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Leonie. So I guess the first question is, what is mindfulness?
Where do I start? I was actually thinking, Ali, to use a quote from some of the uh, experts out there, thought leaders on mindfulness, but I thought, let's just keep it simple. What's my definition of mindfulness? And that's simply being aware of what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're saying right now in this present moment. Not having the mind in the future or in the past, but be completely present here and now. So you see clearly what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're feeling. So being present, being aware in the present moment would be my definition. But I'm keen to hear if you like to add anything to that.
Yeah, no, that's great. Actually, as you were speaking, it helped me become more mindful. So, and why is that important? I guess in the interview context.
During interview skills, during an interview, when you're sitting in front of two or three interviewers, and they ask you that first interview question, Ali, tell me about yourself. And imagine you're answering the question, and then you realize that, oh no, you're answering the question in the present moment, and you're thinking about, I forgot to say this, I forgot to say that. So after your response, you finish your response, then your mind goes to the future and think, oh, what does the interviewers think about what I just said? Or you may go to the past after you answered that question, and then you say to yourself, actually, I forgot to say this, I performed poorly, I've missed out on this, and that negative self-talk can come through during an interview. So being mindful during the interview is a really powerful way to know what's happening in the present moment and quickly change gears and let it go. Okay, I didn't provide enough information. I will provide it later. Let it go. Don't sit there and judge yourself throughout the interview. And then what happens is if you do that after the first interview question and you start to give yourself a really hard time, that then impacts your ability to answer the next question and the next question. So by being mindful, you can quickly change gears and let things go and then move on to the next question. So that's really, really, yeah, powerful to be more mindful. Listening to the interviewers when they ask the question, that's mindful listening. So that's why it's really, yeah, very important during interviews to be mindful.
Thanks, Leonie. It's funny, as I was listening to you, I realized that this is my first podcast, as you know. I was definitely nervous, and just staying present has helped me just yeah, just to hear what you're saying, and um yeah, it's it's quite takes the nervousness out of it, helps to settle the nerves. And I think you mentioned judgment, and I think that's probably where it sits for me, is like, judge, how am I being perceived? But just letting that go and just, yeah. So thank you. And what sort of practices, mindfulness practices, would you recommend to enhance performance during an interview?
I've got a few practices. I think I'll share two practices, simple practices first, and then there's one that I'd like to go in depth with in a moment, and invite you to comment on that as well. So the first practice is simply taking a deep breath. And it's so powerful, deep breathing, belly breathing, to just take a moment. They ask you an interview question during an interview. Take a moment to take a deep breath and have a think for just a few seconds of how you will respond to the interview question. Then you respond with clarity of mind. Sometimes candidates at interview, they kind of rush. Okay, that's the question. I know the answer. Let's just get right into it and answer the question. So taking that a moment to just take a deep breath and think carefully, be considered in your thinking, and then respond. One gives you time to think and be clear on what you are going to say. And secondly, the employers, the interviewers may also notice that, you're quite a considered person. Before you start talking, you actually think about it carefully before you communicate. So that can be really good positioning as well, on your part as a candidate. So that's the first technique on just simply taking a deep breath. The second one that's simple is to instruct your mind, well, yourself, your body, to listen. Because a lot of times we're listening to people and we're thinking about the next thing. So after that person talks, I'm going to say this and this and this. So instructing the mind to actually listen is to say when the interviewer is going to ask an interview question, you train your mind and say to yourself, listen, listen, listen. And this is a technique I use in my business when I'm listening to people, because sometimes, you want to hurry up the conversation and say what you want to say. But by training my mind, instructing it clearly to listen, 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 then I'm in the present moment and I'm actively listening to the other person. And the interviewers always appreciate when you take the time to listen to the question and fully understand the question before you run into giving your response. That's the two simple techniques to share with you first. And yeah, what are your thoughts, Ali?
Yeah, that's really interesting. As you were sharing about that, I sort of realized that uh, the anxiety that comes up, like, I don't know, like you're sort of, you're on the line, your job's on the line, or your future's on the line, or something like that. And for me, like, the response to that anxiety can be wanting to control, fight, flight, or freeze. And um, and when you go into control mode, you're wanting to say stuff. You want to quickly like answer the question really quick, really well, and your mind sort of whirring to try and like it's almost like you're in some sort of a battle and you're trying to respond within that. You're and having that, taking a breath and just allowing space, and maybe like the thought that the best way that I can, like my best chance is by letting go and just allowing things to unfold, um, is sort of counterintuitive, but it could be quite the um, could be the difference between the nerves getting in the way and you actually getting the job or going to the next stage or something like that. Um,
Mm.
and underneath it seems to be like self-acceptance. It's okay. Life will be okay. Um, yeah. So um, now, now I know I listened to a brilliant guided meditation that you did, a visualization before an interview. I thought it was just amazing. I wish I'd had that when I was going for job interviews. So maybe you can share a little bit about that, Leonie.
Yes, thank you so much, Ali, for listening. I think you were one of the first few people who listened to my meditation. So the meditation is developed especially for people who are attending a job interview, to help them visualize the success in performing at an interview. So I guide people through a journey to imagine turning up to the reception of the office where you're interviewing and greeting the receptionist and guiding that visualization from the moment they greet the receptionist to the moment they then sit in the interview room, meet the interviewers, answer the interview questions, walk out of the interview room. So just really a simple way to visualize that experience and to feel at ease with the experience. So that goes for 6 minutes, the first recording, and one of the meditations, and the other one goes for 10 minutes. They're both free to access on an app called Insight Timer. And Ali, I looked at the stats in the last few days. It's been the 6 minute meditation has been played 497 times.
Wow.
And the 10-minute one has been played 598 times. So I'm really grateful, and especially when after you listened to it, you gave me some feedback, which really made it really worthwhile. So that's a bit about the meditations. Um, the other thing I wanted to mention was the feedback I received in terms of what people say. So people can go onto this app and listen to the recording and provide their 4 5-star reviews. So I've been very fortunate. I think I've received majority are 5-star reviews. But the comments I received just yesterday, as I read it, I just thought, wow, like it's so good. This person had said to me, and it's published on the app. I do this. So they've listened to the meditation and then they've said, I do this before every interview. I love it. My anxiety is reduced. I feel less nervous and more confident and relaxed going into my upcoming interview. So that was one of the reviews. So I'm very, very happy that I can help people reduce their anxiety before going into an interview.
That's great. Yeah.
I just wanted to comment, Ali. You said something really awesome before on the freeze response. Yeah, when you get stuck and get stressed and so forth, anxiety is high. And I have a lot of people ask me this one question: what do you do when you go blank during an interview? So the first thing is the mindfulness practice that I wanted to share is to just recognize that you've frozen, you've gone blank. And I have gone blank at an interview myself. This was a few years back. And I just said to I said to the employer, um, I'm so sorry. I just went blank. I prepared for this interview. I've got it all on my notes, but I just went blank. And I quickly opened up my laptop and I had the notes there. So then I referred to my notes and quickly it was like, okay, I've got the answers. But of course, the notes were on, as soon as I opened up my laptop, the notes were right there. So a really good way to practice mindfulness when you are going blank and you freeze is to simply be kind to yourself and recognize that you have gone blank and let the interviewers know that I've fully prepared for this interview, but for some reason I have gone blank in this response. Number one, can we come back to this question? Number two, refer to your notes if you have notes there. And if you really can't think of an answer, then just sincerely let them know that I can't think of an answer. But after the interview, if I come up with a response, I'm more than happy to send you an email and let you know. So be really kind to yourself, recognize how you're feeling, accept how you're feeling, and don't stop judging yourself, because that's really affects your performance at an interview. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also, I guess I've sat sort of on the other side of interviewing people, and when you hear the genuineness, the authenticity, the willingness to show that, hey, maybe, there's things that I might not be good at, things that I'm good, gives may give the interviewer confidence that they can trust everything else you're saying, that you're not just putting on a face. So showing that little bit of like, hey, look, my mind's just gone blank, might actually turn out to be a thing that's appreciated and sets you apart from the person who gives a polished response. But then the interviewer might be thinking, well, maybe I'm not seeing the full picture here. So yeah, never know.
Uh, I love that. It's a way of showing vulnerability and yet building a connection at the same time with the interviewers. So yes, anything else you'd like to add in terms of mindfulness practices, whether it's at interviews or at work or in life, Ali?
Yeah, I guess the one thing that just comes to mind is firstly, I feel a lot more relaxed right now than when we started. And I don't know how long we're in, but it doesn't take long, I think, once you settle in. And an interesting angle to take this is just more from your own like life journey. Where is the anxiety coming from? Or maybe, you go into some sort of performance mode and you're putting on some sort of a big face. Where is it coming from? Um, what's sort of what's sitting underneath those feelings? And that can be like a gift. That those experiences can be a gift to help you get to know yourself a bit better. And yeah, and that might have like other benefits over time. So yeah.
Oh, that is brilliant. So ask yourself the question, where is this anxiety coming from? And to see it that these unpleasant feelings can be a gift for you to further investigate, explore, reflect on. And it is quite fascinating because I find that people associate with sometimes the very first interview that they had in their career. And if it was a really bad interview, then they associate that, or they associate the job interviews with like exams. So yeah, but it's a wonderful question. Where is the anxiety coming from? Yeah.
Mm.
Well, thank you, Ali. It's been a pleasure to have you ask me the questions. And thank you for everyone who's listening as well. I hope that some of the ideas Ali and myself have shared can help you see the benefits of using mindfulness practices before, during, and an interview. But I might also want to mention that if you notice the energy and the calmness in both of us as we speak, that's because we both are experienced mindfulness practitioners. I meditated for 45 minutes this morning before this podcast because I knew that it would help us cultivate this calmness in this conversation, and also really wanted to reinforce that how effective it is, because right now we are showcasing how mindfulness can actually make a big difference in the quality of this conversation and ultimately the quality of the conversations you have at interviews or in general conversations. So thank you for listening and stay tuned. I will be publishing more podcasts in the new year, and I'm looking forward to connect with you all again soon. Thank you so much, Ali.
Thanks, Leonie. Thanks. Good luck with all the interviews ahead of you, people. Okay.
Thank you.